These I'm obsessed with. These pre-cut, pre-packaged fruits and vegetables from the grocery store. Everyone carries them now. These are peppers. You get green pepper, red pepper, and you get some yellow pepper in there as well. They really don't cost more than buying them cheap. I've done it, or buying them separately, I mean. I've done the weights, I've done the comparisons, and there really isn't a difference. It's just a hell of a lot more convenient. And you can buy them shaped in a bunch of different ways. These ones are cut into strips, so I lay these on top of wraps and stuff like that. But you can buy diced ones as well that are perfect for throwing in an omelet or into rice or anything like that if you're eating it. I do the same thing with fruit salad these days as well. This is a big pack. I've never actually bought a pack this big. I'm a little worried that I'm not going to eat it all before it goes bad. But they were on sale this week, so this is what I did. It would be hard to buy all of these things in a quantity that I would actually be able to eat in the run of a week. So if I buy a whole mango, if I buy a whole pineapple, I'm going to be chucking half of it in the compost bin. So I really like this. You know, you get a mix of everything. They're not in any kind of syrup or anything. They're all just, you know, pre-packaged and pre-cut. It's really, really convenient. And that's kind of like this size here, actually. This is yogurt, granola, and blueberry. I'm sure that these are packaged as an individual serving, but for me, I'll get 4 days out of this. I usually end up eating almost like a quarter of this at a time anymore. So stuff like this is perfect, and Greek yogurt, of course, is perfect as well, just on its own, or some people mix some honey into it or anything, but I've tried to stay away from that and just get used to eating it on its own. Next up, speaking of omelets, we have an omelet mix. Same thing, right? You have sliced mushroom, there's some green pepper and red pepper, and that's it, I think. You can buy ones that have celery in them too. I think they're called stir-fry mix, even though I usually use them for an omelet because I kind of like celery. So same thing, this is $3. You can't go buy all this stuff for $3 separate. It's really handy, really convenient, and you can measure it all out pretty simply. I still put everything on the scale at this point, not because I don't know how much, or like how much quantity something is, but because I really want MyFitnessPal to be accurate. All of this was on sale this week. When it's not on sale, sometimes that's just how I spend Saturday. I keep these containers. I have a click lock airtight Tupperware that I use, and you know, I'll buy the same thing. I'll buy one green pepper, I'll buy one red pepper, I'll buy a mushroom, and then I spend Sunday just kind of slicing it all, putting it into little containers, and that way they're there, really easy to grab. If it's convenient, I'm much more likely to go for it. So I try to do what I can to keep all of these really, really handy. Alright, let's get into some other stuff. I've been talking about these for a while now. My friend Jen introduced them to me. These are dirty, apparently. But these are crispy lettuce wraps. And you use these basically like a tortilla or like a pita. You get an individual piece of lettuce and you fill it. You fill it with what you normally put on a sandwich or what you'd put in a wrap. I've done taco mix. I've done, you know, diced chicken with some salsa. Sprinkle a little cheese on top. I've done a whole lot with these. I've done breakfast burritos. You know, same idea. Basically, you're just putting a chopped up omelet into one of these. But really, really tasty. Avoiding dressings and condiments. You know, sometimes if I'm using it like a sandwich, I will use some mustard or some honey mustard, but a very little amount. You know, so much less than I used to use when I wasn't keeping track of that stuff, when I didn't really care what was in ketchup or mustard or anything. And the other really neat thing about these is there's only 5 calories in one. So just like when I was on my pre-op diet, I mean, this is basically a freebie. Possibly the best advice I ever got from Jen. So I'm really, really excited about those. Eat those quite a bit now. Also, you know, ground chicken and turkey. I ate a lot of ground beef, and I still do. Not a lot, but I still eat a fair bit of it. It's all extra lean now, and that makes a huge difference. I prepare this always in advance. Sometimes I fry some up just into a bit of a crumble. Other times I make them into meatballs or mini meatloafs like I talked about in some previous videos. But the meatballs are really handy, I find. Basically it's egg white, oatmeal, the meat itself. Do it all up, put them into the mini balls that I use in my mini muffin tin. and I pop those in the freezer in bags of 4, and I know that 4 of those is just under 4 ounces of meat. It's about 3¼ ounces of meat. I can take those up, I can use them as meatballs, I can put them in a wrap, I can dice them up and use them as a crumble, I can put them with you know, tortilla chips or anything like that. So really versatile. Not really trying to use this stuff as if it's turkey or as if it's chicken. I'm just trying to use this as a replacement for so many of the things that I've put ground beef in for years, and of course sticking with the extra lean now as well. What else we get today? We got some peppers. Nothing real special there to tell you about. These are just you know, what you would expect to buy. I use these a lot for stuffed peppers. You know, I buy the strips for the omelets and stuff like that I do separate. But these, I'll cut off the tops. Sometimes I'll cut them in half this way. And then basically I take that meatball mixture I just talked about, fill it up about a little more than halfway, put some salsa on top, some cheese, pop them in the oven, and roast them. And you know, those are really delicious. I don't like tomatoes so much. It's one of those things I ate so many as a kid. I don't think I like them now, but these I'm enjoying. These are mini sweet tomatoes. You get 10 in a pack for about $2. You can quarter them and chuck them on a salad, chuck them on a wrap, anything like that. Sometimes I'll use it as a bit of a snack, you know, pop 2 of those in your mouth and you're good to go. And they have that sweetness in them. So, you know, they're really versatile. I like those. I buy my lemon and lime packs now. Have become obsessed with fresh lemon water or fresh lemon lime water. Ice cold out of the fridge. Squeeze, you know, about half of a lemon, quarter of a lime into, you know, probably about just under a liter of water, and absolutely delicious. I make them as I go. I don't make a jug and put it in the fridge. I find the minute it settles, you'll lose a lot of the flavor. I like it right out of the lemon or right out of the lime, and that's a good evening thing. I find that if you get that itch after supper, where you are thinking that you're going to go for something that you probably shouldn't, through the rest of the day when that happens, I usually just drink water and it takes care of it. In the evening, though, I find my old habits of wanting something sweet, of wanting something that was a little different, almost like something special to cap off the day. I now do this, and it's really good. Give it a shot, and it is a bit of a suppressant in a way. It works. I usually don't buy this many grapes, but they were on sale this week. These are seedless. I don't know what they've started doing to grapes, but I mean, they're all huge now. They're all absolutely the size of like globes. Look at this. I mean, it's massive, right? So same thing. You know, I usually pop some of these into one of those snack bags from Ziploc. I'll be talking about those in a bit. But these are just handy things to have around. You gotta watch fruit, though. You know, we're brought up to eat fruit and vegetables constantly. I'm doing so much watching of sugar now, because sugar was one of those things that I used to get into trouble with. It's remarkable how quickly sugar adds up. And people say, well, it's natural sugar, but sugar is sugar. And if you overload your body with it, your body's not able to do other things, to do the other things it needs to break down, especially if you eat it as part of a meal. You know, when you give it a lot of protein, or you give it any carbs or anything like that to deal with, and you give it sugar at the same time, you know, that's a bit of a formula for failure. Your body gets distracted and has to produce a bunch of insulin to deal with that sugar. These are mini potatoes. Again, ate so many potatoes growing up that I'm not into them. I don't eat a lot of them. Was always much more into rice and pasta and stuff like that. And these are so starchy. Any potato, any root vegetable really, is usually so starchy that you basically treat it as sugar in your body. So you got to watch out for that too. So sometimes I will literally have like 2 of these quartered. Here we have a red onion. Not red for any particular reason. I use white onions a lot when I'm cooking. I switched over to Spanish onion for like onion, not onion rings, but like, you know, sliced onion to lay on top of a wrap or a taco or something. And I think really just because I was eating so much of them, one of the pre-cut packs I got had red onion in it, so now I'm on a bit of a red onion kick. And I find these are delicious for breakfast. I don't find the taste is as strong, so a couple of these in an omelet or in one of those breakfast bites I was talking about, and it doesn't seem as noticeable. You get the flavor without getting that intense taste that kind of stays with you. All right, a little bit more. Apple slices. I take these to work a lot for a snack after the show. You know, people are varied over these. They're super convenient. They are washed in a vitamin C bath before they're packaged. and that is what keeps them from going brown, even though they're already pre-cut. So each package is 30 grams. You get 100% of your vitamin C intake for the day, and sorry, each pack is 30 calories and 57 grams. So, you know, good or bad, people fight over them all the time. There is a bit of a fight over whether or not these things are a good product or not, but they are certainly a convenient product, and for that alone at this point, they're on my shopping list. Fight it out in the comments. Chicken is one of those things that I tend to spend a lot of money on. I think you can tell the difference between good chicken and bad chicken, especially since I've started buying just chicken breast, and I switched to buying chicken breast. I used to cook chicken in the slow cooker a lot, and I didn't really care what part of the chicken it came from because I would slow cook it till it basically fell off the bone, and then that's what I would use in a meal, like with a pasta or with a rice or something like that. But now that I'm kind of eating it separate, and now that I really do need it to stay moist, I can't overcook meat or it has a tendency of getting stuck, I've moved on to these Maple Leaf Prime. It's $17 usually for 4. They come individually packaged. But there's something to remember. Like, I don't know that I would buy these if it was $4 a serving, which if you eat one of these at a time it is. But when you weigh these things, because of what they do to chickens now to make them as big as they are, this is basically 2 servings for me. These things are almost always just about 6 ounces, and I try to keep protein serving per meal down around 3.5. So I get usually 1 supper and 1 lunch out of one of these. So $16 for 4 servings in my case. I'm willing to do it. Not something I was willing to buy before I had the lap band. I make a lot of like homemade sauces and stuff, and I've had to change a lot of those, especially for meats like marinades, just to take so much of the sweetness out. So many of the pre-bought and even the homemade sauces are all sugar. But I found these Olivieri ones. These aren't on the shelf. These are actually in the meat section, in the cooler. In a quarter of a cup, there's only 50 calories and 8 grams of sugar, which is still a lot, but not bad for a marinade. It's not like you're going to sit down and drink the bag. You can use them either way. You can use it as a marinade. You can also use it just as a sauce. So once the chicken's about half cooked, if you've sliced it or cubed it or anything like that in a frying pan, that works. So you get enough to do 2 portions in a bag. I get enough to do 8. Bacon bits. Here's the thing with these. In a tablespoon of these, there are 35 calories. I'm not going to, fry up a pound of bacon for what I can eat of it, and you really shouldn't be eating all that much of it anyway. But it's a really good source of some pretty quick protein. There's 4 grams in a tablespoon of this, and what I do, I make these breakfast bites. I was telling you about them. They're basically like little omelets, individual ones. In 1 tablespoon of this, I get 4 of those little omelets done. So I end up with 1 extra gram of protein going into each one of those, and I eat 4 of those at a time in the morning because they're literally the size of a quarter. So it's not so bad. You're adding 10 calories for 1 gram of protein. Not a great ratio, but you get the taste of bacon without adding in all of the fat. Just 2 grams per tablespoon there. So, a quarter of a gram per serving for me. Not too bad. Started buying Butterball. I don't eat a lot of processed meat. I didn't before either. I find a lot of the cheaper stuff, like that we used to buy for school lunches and work lunches and stuff, the sodium levels in it often gave me a crazy headache. But this stuff is okay. It's Butterball Turkey and Chicken Trio. You get turkey, chicken, and you get smoked ham-style turkey. Really low calorie. You can put 1 piece of each into one of those lettuce wraps and have a sandwich with some, honey mustard and some onions and green pepper and a little bit of cheese if you wanted it. You can do all that for under about 120 calories. So these things aren't something I eat every day, but they are something I probably take to work once a week. Next up we have processed meat that I don't mind. Again, still processed, not ideal. I much rather, have the other half of my chicken breast sitting in the fridge, ready to go for a wrap or something like that. But when I don't, I pick up the Maple Leaf Natural Selections. 70 calories in 4 slices. 2 slices is a serving for me, and lots of protein in these as well. 15 grams in the 4 slices, so about 7.5 grams of protein in one little lettuce wrap when I make them. So not too bad, not great, but not too bad. Laura at the gym turned me onto this. This is, let me see if I can get in the shot here. This is Ezekiel bread. This is sesame, which I haven't actually tried yet, but they make a bunch of them. There's cinnamon raisin and whole grain. These are in the freezer section, which is near the pharmacy in most grocery stores. It's where all the gluten-free stuff is. I'm not a guy who ate a lot of bread before anyway, but it is one of those things that you basically completely stay away from when you're on the lap band. There is some whole grain, you can toast it, stuff like that, but really it's such a calorie hog that I try to avoid bread completely. Now when I eat bread, I usually eat a pita, because you can get, about, in theory, you could eat 4 pitas almost for one slice of bread with the 3-inch ones that I eat. You can't tell that there's anything special about it, but there's only 80 calories in a slice. There's no sugar, 3 grams of fiber, 4 grams of protein. It's pretty expensive. It's $5.99, but it comes frozen, and you keep it frozen. And I just I take out a piece or 2 at a time, and I always toast it. So mine goes right from the freezer into the toaster. There is no thawing out. I never have to worry about that kind of soggy bread taste you get when you thaw something out of the freezer. Next up, we have some organic bananas. Same thing, I don't eat a lot of these, but they come in handy. They're a neat little thing to grab on the go. Sometimes I'll kind of package half of one of these together with whatever I'm having for breakfast, and they go together pretty well. Nothing fancy, just a banana. I hate milk. I absolutely hate milk. Yet I've started buying Scotsburn Slim Milk. Let me see if I can get it in the shot here. Not really, so I'll do this. So I started buying this, and it's, I don't know. It's, I'm not at the point where I can drink it, where I just drink it. I just don't enjoy it enough, but I use it in a lot of stuff. I'll put it in oatmeal now, which is something I never used to do, but calcium is a concern with the limited intake that I have, so it's a good source of calcium. Any modifications I can make to the diet to add in food that gets me off of a supplement or gets me to rely less on my daily multivitamin to give me what I need. Anything I can get from a real product, I'd much rather. So I am trying to get about half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of skim milk in me, one way or another, in the run of a day, and this is how I'm doing it. I basically should have shares in Ziploc by now. I buy this size, and then I buy the individual size, and when I have something that needs to go, so I make my meatballs, I put 4 of them into an individual one, and then I'll get 6 individual bags into one of these larger bags, and then all of this goes right into the freezer. So that's kind of like my filing system. So now that I've walked you through some of the stuff I bought at the store, let's take a look at some of the actual meals that I can make within the run of a week.